right, welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. I see you. Lorado Bulkley, good to see you this morning. Nay Paris, good to see you on Instagram. All Things Bakes and Events, good to see you on Instagram this morning. Do me a favor. Drop a comment so I can shout you out. Let's go. So glad that you're here this morning. Those of you that are on Twitch, glad you're here. Those of you that are on LinkedIn, glad you're here. Hey, Jessica, glad you're here. Johnson, glad that you're here this morning. All right. Woo, we're getting ready to get rocking and rolling, get started. Oh, yeah. It's time. We're right here in the cockpit, getting ready to take flight. Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all, what is happening? Guess what time it is? It is time for the Monday Mindset Movement. You know how we get started. Say the affirmation with me. Today is my best day. Today, I will win. Today, I fully embrace my God-given talents and I courageously step on my fears. Today, I operate without hesitation, and today, I make an impact. Let's go. Let me be vulnerable for a second. I want it to be liked. I really did. I wouldn't say that I was an extreme people pleaser, but I definitely didn't want people saying anything negative about me. So in a lot of instances, I try to make sure that I wasn't talked about in a negative way. So I did what I had to do. That's no way to live life. Well, listen, here's what we're going to talk about this morning. Have you ever wondered what it's like to live life without the weight of others' opinions? What if being disliked was the secret ingredient to living a fulfilling life and the results that you were after? Yeah. How do you balance the approval and the opinions of others without with the need for relationship as well? So we're going to peel back those layers this morning. Welcome to the show, everyone. If you are here, just put your name, put your comments in the chat. I'd love to shout you out. Hey, good morning, Nay Paris. Good to see you this morning on Instagram, YouTube. That's where you are this morning. So glad that you all are there. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me, the Monday Mindset Movement, 15 to 30 minutes of motivation, elevation, and inspiration designed to get you thinking, blinking, and rocking and rolling through your week. Thank you for showing up today on LinkedIn, YouTube. Yes, there you are. Facebook, Twitter. Not Twitter. We're not on Twitter. We're not on X. Twitch. Yeah, that's where we are this morning. Do me a favor. If you want to get down with the Monday Mindset crew, head on over to MondayMindsetMovement.com, join our community and learn a little bit more there. If you want to know when we're live, text LIVE, L-I-V-E, to 240-557-8679. Text LIVE, L-I-V-E, to 240-557-8679. Yeah, we're about to get rocking and rolling. Come get some inspiration, motivation, and some value. Tamika S. Graham, good to see you on Instagram this morning. Hey, Nay Paris, good to see you. Oh, she likes my colors this morning. I like it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tell your friends that we got good colors today. Good to see you. Hey, y'all, listen, let's jump into the show. I'm so glad that you're here.
It's time to get motivated, elevated, and accelerated. It's your time to jump out of your comfort zone and reach higher. It's time to get up and go. Grab your cup of grit and your daily dose of resilience. It's time for the Monday Mindset Movement with your host, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. It's time.
What? Yeah, come on. Welcome to the show this morning, my friends. I am so glad that you are here. So glad you joined the movement. If you haven't heard me say this before, the whole idea of the Monday Mindset Movement is growth. We don't want you just to think about starting up on Monday. We want to get you thinking and moving into that headspace every single day. We don't wind this thing down on Wednesday. We bring the Monday Mindset Movement into every day so that we can tap into all the God-given potential in all of us and win and win and win. All right, listen, before we jump in this morning, if you are a real estate agent or if you're a small business owner and you are someone who needs to connect with clients for a living, I want to invite you to my upcoming web session, Small Talk, Stories, and Sales on July 16th. We're going to show you how to truly connect from the networking event to the paper signing. This is going to be inspirational, value-packed. I want you to get registered for this event, Small Talk, Stories, and Sales. You can either click on that QR code or set up... How do you do this? Yeah, you can either take a picture of that QR code, capture that QR code, or you can go to learnwithrk3.com/3S webinar, okay? Head on over to learnwithrk3.com/3S webinar. Get registered for this event. All right, come on. Let's dive in. What are we talking about this morning? This morning, we are talking about... Where's my mouse? Okay, this morning, we are talking about the courage to be disliked. Let me tell you a story, as I do every show. Some years ago, I encountered a friend online who was saying some things. I won't go too detailed about what they were saying, but I shared my opinion about what they had to say and how they said it. Now, I let them know what I said, and I had no problem with their opinion or the thoughts that they had. But I had an issue with how they said it or kind of the order in which they said it. So I corrected them. I made a statement. I put something in the comments and I made a correction. And I think, if I remember correctly, I went into the Facebook Messenger or DMs or whatever it was, and I shared, some more background around that. Now, in my mind, this person had similar values to me and would take kindly to my correction. My correction, right? Listen, I was more than wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong to the heights of wrongtivity, right? I was grossly wrong. Instead, this person cussed me out like never before, right? This person cussed me out. And then they got another family member to cuss me out over email as well. Now, I didn't like being cussed out, but I also didn't want to be thought of as a bad person. I didn't like being thought of as a bad person. And if I'm being real, it's not only that I didn't want to be thought of as a bad person, I didn't want them to share their story of cussing me out so that other people who knew both of us and only heard their side of the story would consider me the bad person. So I decided I wanted to fix that a little bit. I decided I was going to try to call this person. And I tried calling, didn't get a response. And I tried to email them. I tried to contact through other family, friends, and members. And I tried for a while, and I convinced myself that I was seeking peace. I convinced myself that I was seeking peace and I was being the bigger person. But it wasn't until years later that I recognized that what I was seeking wasn't peace. I was seeking acceptance, right? And this person was never going to give that to me, at least not in the way that I was looking for it. How often have we found ourselves seeking something in other people that they're never going to give to us? How often have we found ourselves seeking something from others that they are never going to give to us, that we're never going to get from them? Come on, y'all. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this morning. If this has been something that you've experienced, go ahead and pop that in the chat for me. All right. So glad to see you here on Instagram. Sunita Life Coach, Create Domesticity. So glad that you're here this morning. Dr. Lorenda Jones. So glad that you are here this morning. Glad to see you. How often have we sought something or wanted something from other people that they were just never going to give us? Here's the deal. Sometimes we seek agreement from people. Sometimes we seek agreement from people. And the truth is, those people are never going to give us agreement, right? We want people to seek or see life through the same lens that we do. And here's what happens. We argue, especially online. Have you seen this? Especially over the last few days. People argue online about stuff because their hope is that the other person will say, yeah, you're right, and see us through the same lens or see life through the same lens that we do, right? We want them to bow and admit that we're right. But in most cases, most people are never going to give that to us. Sometimes we seek acceptance through companionship, and because we're so desperate for that, we tend to overlook situations because they don't happen to be pointed in our direction just yet. What do I mean by that? What do you mean by that, Robert? Well, if I go back to the story that I just talked about, I can now say that one of the reasons I didn't want people talking bad about me is because I was around these people enough to know how they talked about people. Yeah. My wife used to say this to my daughter. If you are in friends or circles of friends or friend circles where they're talking about other people in a certain way, remove yourself from that, because it's only a matter of time before they start doing it about you. Right? And so I had been previously in groups or new groups of people who talked about people and talked about them in a certain way. And because I knew how they talked about people, I didn't want myself to be talked about in that way. So I tried to smooth this thing over so my name wouldn't be in their mouths in that way. Right? Eleanor Roosevelt was attributed this quote, this idea, and she says, let me see if I can find it. She says, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people." Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. Darren Hardy, the former owner and editor of Success Magazine, says it another way. He says, broke people talk about people and problems. Rich people talk about ideas and goals. Your conversation chooses your destiny. Ooh. Yeah, listen, we seek acceptance. We seek to be liked. Now, the title of this episode today is The Courage to Be Disliked. And when I say the courage to be disliked, I'm going to step on some people's toes right now. When I talk about the courage to be disliked, I'm not talking about the keeping it real people. There are some people who are undercover miserable and they thrive on disagreeing with others. And then they make sure that you know that other people disagree with them and don't like them. Have you ever seen this online? The people who they write something and they say, "Yeah, but I said it this way and I knew nobody was going to like it, but I'm just that way. I just tell the truth and nobody likes it when I tell the truth." And they make sure that they post it online so that other people can say, "Yeah, you go, girl. Yeah, that's right, boy." They want you to see that. They aren't quiet about how other people operate or other people's dislike of them, right? They must do a Facebook or an IG post about it. It doesn't work for them if other people don't know that other people dislike them. That's a self-acceptance issue. You see, when you accept yourself, and here's where we're going with the courage to be disliked this morning. You see, when you accept yourself, you just move, and sometimes that's in silence. Ichiro Kishimi in the book The Courage to Be Disliked says, if one really has confidence in oneself, one doesn't feel the need to boast. It's because one's feeling of inferiority is strong that one boasts. One feels the need to flaunt one's superiority all the more. There's the fear that if one doesn't do that, that not a single person will accept them the way they are. Ouch. Right? Sometimes we convince ourselves that being disliked is a badge or it's like a superhero cape. But that isn't courage. That's the coping mechanism. The courage to be disliked is a little bit different. When we're talking about the courage to be disliked, we are talking about several things, but three that I want to point out this morning. When we're talking about the courage to be disliked, we're talking about owning your life without the need to explain. Right? Own your life without the need to explain. You make decisions, right? Your mom gives you birth or gives birth to you, and your parents nurture you. And then after that, you have the courage to choose your own path and all that comes with it. The courage to be disliked means that you don't blame others for your failures. You don't give excuses. You don't rationalize. You accept responsibility for your life. Now, does that mean you're in control of every single thing that happens in your life? No. You are not in control of every single thing that happens. What you are in control of is what you do with it and what you do with it and what you do after it. A lot of us, things happen to us and we immediately seek to blame. We immediately seek to point the finger. We immediately seek a reason outside of ourselves. But the courage to be disliked means owning your life without the need to explain. Second thing that I want to point out is saying no and eliminating excuses. The courage to be disliked means that sometimes people are going to want you to do certain things. And you will have to have the courage to say no without explaining. I like to say no is a complete sentence. Saying no. There are times where you have a goal and you are committed to something. And groups of people will say, hey, come on, no, let's do this. And you're going to need to say no. And they're going to ask why. And you're going to say, because I don't want to. Or you can just repeat, no. The courage to be disliked means saying no and eliminating excuses. The third idea that I want to point out, or the third reason that I want to point out, is embracing resistance as necessary. Learning to embrace resistance as a part of the journey of growth and strength. Sometimes people are going to dislike you or what you do or what you say. Does that mean that they are bad people? No, it does not. It simply means that they are the conduit or the vehicle of resistance at that particular moment to help you grow in your journey. And you're going to need to learn to accept resistance as a part of your journey. You're going to need to learn to accept saying no as a part of your journey. You're going to need to learn to own your life without the need to explain. I say you're going to need to, and I'm pointing to you. I'm pointing to me. Yeah, I'm still in process on this. There are days where I need to say no better. Now I've done it, and I continue to do it. And there are spaces in my life still where I'm working towards being better at it. So own your life without the need to explain, say no and eliminate excuses, embrace resistance as a necessary part of the journey of growth and strength. So what do I do with this? What do I do with this? How do I embrace the courage, or how do I grab onto the courage to be disliked? Well, it's not just about deciding that you're going to be mean. It's about deciding that you will be intentional. One of the ways to do that is being of contribution. Being of contribution. Do something for someone outside of yourself without expectation. Do something for someone outside of yourself with no expectation. And when you do it, don't post it on social media. Don't tell. Don't wave a flag and say, look at me. Just do it. Be a contribution. Do something for someone outside of yourself with no expectation. And I'm not saying, okay, you've got to go looking for the most unfortunate circumstance, or I've got to drive downtown to find a homeless person. Do something for someone without expectation. Call somebody and pour into them. Text somebody. Pay for coffee at Starbucks for somebody behind you. You're walking down the street, or you're walking in a building and you see a piece of trash on the ground, pick it up and put it in the trash. Do something outside of yourself without expectation of recognition or compensation or return. Number 2 thing that I'd like for you to do is get clear on your core values. Get clear on 1, 2, or 3 of your core values so that you can become even more intentional about living into those core values. What do you believe? Is a core value kindness? Okay. Is a core value caring for others? Okay. Is a core value relationship? Okay. Is a core value making sure that you communicate effectively? Effective communication. Okay. How do you live that? How do you step into that? How do you own that? How do you take responsibility for that? Find and figure out 1, 2, or 3 of your core values and then live them. Don't just talk about them, live them. Lastly, recognize that others' dislike of you is a them problem, not a you problem. Others disliking you does not need to be declared or defended. As you own your life, as you take responsibility for every choice that you make, the measuring stick is not somebody else. You're not comparing yourself to the Kardashians. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else. Your measuring stick is you and God. Okay, so recognize that others' dislike of you is a them problem, not a you problem. Number 2, get clear on core values. Number 3, be of contribution. So as we wrap this up this week, I want you to ask yourself, this is your homework for this week. What is my contribution? How will I contribute to someone outside of myself this week? I want you to be intentional about that. I want you to serve somewhere, in some way this week. Call somebody, pour into them. Whatever it is that you need to do to contribute outside of yourself this week, whatever that means. And guess what? You might even want to contribute to someone who dislikes you. After you figure out how you can be intentional about contributing, ask yourself, what are your top 3 core values this week? And how will you live into them? What are your top 3 core values, and how will you live into those core values? All right, listen, y'all. That's it for this week. To know when we're live next, text LIVE to 240-557-8679. 240-557-8679, and I will send you the link personally for where we are and when we are live. Listen, y'all, remember to join me for Small Talk Stories and Sales on July 16th. Head on over to learnwithrk3.com/3S webinar. Okay? Or hit this QR code and join me for that. I want to end today with a quote from Ichiro Kishimi, who wrote the book, The Courage to Be Disliked. And he says, your life is not something that someone gives you, but something you choose yourself. You're the one who decides how you live. Hey, y'all, it's Monday. And we want to shift your mindset to a place of growth. It doesn't just start and stop on Monday. It continues into the next day and the next day and the next day. Be curious. Make a choice. Move. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday, on the Monday Mindset Movement, 8 a.m. on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch. Where else are we? Yeah, I think those are the places. Until then, be amazing, my friends.